Hello everyone, welcome back to another deadline stream on the channel. I know I've missed a few deadlines and apologies for that because I've been fairly busy and I hope you understand, but we are back once again as usual. Let me quickly update the chat box, make sure everything in the stream is running smoothly because I'm a bit rusty, I'm not going to lie, from not streaming for a hot minute. Let me change the timer as well before anyone freaks out. What is it, 94, 92. Hope everyone as well had a very merry Christmas and we'll get back into the thick of it with FPL. Let me bring up maybe a little recap of where we are this season before we get into my team. Let me see some faces in chat as well. Good to see Eddie Casey, Casper, VJ says Boxing Day greetings. Good to see you. But yeah, a lot of people I suspect will have a very good team this game week. I'm one of them, but my team looks a bit more interesting than I think the regular teams because I don't have Saka already in place. So I actually don't have to replace Saka, which is fairly fortunate. And it's mad, one player has kind of changed the scope of how the game weeks look now because people are trying to get Saka out while I'm trying to move elsewhere with my transfer. So it's going to be really interesting how this plays out. Rosen says, what's up, Merry Christmas. Good to see you, Rosen. Robert Zahari says, Merry Christmas from Sweden. Thank you, Robert. Merry Christmas. Red Devil says, Merry Christmas. Good morning, all. Reese Clay, hope you had a good Christmas chai. Yeah, I had a brilliant Christmas. So got to see all the family. Had dinner at my house. I made some croquettes. Everyone's happy. So Reese Clay, hope you had a good Christmas. Thank you, Reese. Jeff and Thomas says, Merry Christmas chai. Good to see you, Jeff. And so in front of you, quick little recap. We're currently at 340k in the world. Our best rank so far this season. We have, 18, 19 game weeks to go. And I have all my chips other than Wildcard to use. Just to know, anyone with their Wildcard, you will have to use it this week or next week. Be sure to use it though, because it'll be a waste otherwise. It will just disappear. But yeah, very happy with the rank considering where we were maybe 6-7 game weeks ago. 1.6 million. Who else we got in here? We got FTBL. He says hi Chai, good morning. We got Gazeg. He says Merry Christmas, brother. And then Paddy Era says man like Chai, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Start Evan Nilsson or Kirkes or both. I would start Evan Nilsson personally. I'd be more than happy with benching Kirkes, I think. So going back to what I said with my rank, obviously it's decent now, I would say. Again, not where I want it to be, but I think when you equate for my triple captaincy chip that I have, it's a completely different story because that could be the difference of I want to say minimum 10 points providing I play it in a double game week. And 10 points would get me into the top 200k, I want to say ish. So when you look at it like that, I mean, it looks very good and I'm quite happy. But I have a decision to make again before we move on to my team. Of course, we have the double coming in game week 24 for Liverpool. And with the triple captaincy chip left, of course that provides less value than the assistant manager chip we're after seeing. So I need to see if I want to, or if I'm open to kind of getting steamrolled by the assistant manager chip and hoping that triple captain on Salah, if I do use it in game week 24, can catch some points to kind of tarnish the damage that the assistant manager chip is going to do. I think it's a better play to hold on to the assistant manager chip later down the season. And the reason for that is because you'll have a lot more information in terms of how the table is going to look. Maybe more opportunities may arise in that block of game weeks before or after game week 24. Whereas game week 24 is actually the first week, I believe, you can play the assistant manager chip. So not to say it's a bit rushed. Of course, we'll have all the game weeks moving on to that. But I think if you know, as a table moves around during the season, like right now, I believe Tottenham are in 11th and United are in 13th. So you'd imagine some spaces would come up to maybe use it on one of the teams that are way down the table, like those two, who you know, come the end of the season, should finish near the top 8. So it's going to be really interesting. So let's move on to my team. Here's my team for this game week. And again, I mean, it's a very good team, just like everyone else. Hold on, I'm looking fairly green. Let me put something up. One sec. As usual, by the way, we'll look at some graphics from Rob T. And we'll get to some of your questions also. So in front of you, like I said, I've got the team. Am I looking less green? Okay, we're good. Let me quickly start with the goalkeeper. So that is brilliant. My boy Kieran is in chat, gifted with the 5 memberships. Absolute legend, Kieran. Thank you so much, and it's good to see you in here. One of Gianni's ultras. You didn't have to do that, man. It must be Christmas, or you must be having a a very merry Christmas, Kieran. But thank you so much. And the 5 memberships have gone to Refical, Danny B, Davis West, Mikey LCR, and James Moffat. Danny B, if I'm not wrong, are you one of Gianni's ultras? If you remember, put something in chat, and welcome to a cup of chai. And Kieran, how are you not a member of Cup of Chai? Thanks again, Kieran, though. Really appreciate it. FPL Freddy, good morning. By the way, for the 5 that have just been gifted a membership, James, Mikey, Davis, Danny B, Refical, DM me on Twitter and I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. All the members of FPL Chai get added to this secret WhatsApp group. There's nothing special going on there, but if you just wanted a bit more communication and a little bit of a community, be sure to shoot me a DM. So WFPL Discomfort. And Kieran, if you want to be added to that group chat, or you're sick of listening to me, be sure to shoot me a DM and I'll get you involved. So like I said, let me run through the team. We've got double Arsenal defence, which Kieran will absolutely love. We've got Trent and Hall. We've got 4 in the middle of Bowen, Palmer, Salah, Gordon. No surprise the captaincy is on Salah. And then Solanke, Havertz and João Pedro, Rodgers, Mikalenko and Greaves on the bench. We've also got Paul in here, our channel member. Good morning, Paul. Mohammed Mabrouk says, morning, Chai. Good to see you, Mohammed. I really like my team for this week, and it is a bit different. Connor says, how do I buy membership? Connor, there should be a dollar sign, I think it is, and you can show support to FPL Chai. It is somewhere there, trust me. Gary Wiseman says, sup Chai, good to see you. So yeah, I think going back to the Saka point I was making, everyone's going to be getting rid of Saka. I think he's the most sold player this game week, or one of the most sold we've seen this season, to be honest, over 2 million. And who are people going to? They're going to like the likes of Odegaard, and of course I think if the option was between Odegaard and Havertz, it would be a bit closer. Again, Odegaard is a very interesting pick, and I can completely understand that. The main thing for Odegaard for me is the surety of minutes. Like, you know he's going to play every single game. Well, you like to hope so. And he's also on pens and some free kicks, which is of course massive for an Arsenal asset. But I'm more than happy with Kai Havertz, I'll be honest. I'm happy I didn't get rid of him now with the Saka injury. I don't know whether he's going to play up top every single game or not, but I'm more than happy to hold on to him, even if he is playing a bit of a deeper role with Jesus in the team. You probably expect Martinelli to play on the right, and Jesus up top. The one thing about Jesus, for anyone that's considering, is of course that he's on 4 yellow cards. But for anyone that knows me, you know I like a little punt. A lot of people have questions over the likes of Jota, Jesus, maybe even a Martinelli. And to be honest, if it was any other time than Christmas, I think I would be considering them. But especially around Christmas, the one thing you do want from your players is the surety of minutes. And I know I always say it, but it's for good reason. And if you look at the players on my team, Trent, Gabriel, Raya, Hall, I mean, I don't think Hall is at risk if you look at his minutes over the season so far. Bowen, Palmer, Salah, Gordon, Solanke, Havertz and Pedro. These are all 90-minute men, bar Pedro, I would say. So I'm very happy with the team, especially with the Saka injury. Again, I would never pray for injury on anyone, but for how it's shaping my FPL team, it looks quite good. We've got a super chat from Vijay. Sends £1 with no chat. If you have any question, Vijay, be sure to let me know. Thank you for supporting the channel. Happy Holidays says Champions Collide. Good to see you, Champions Collide. He says triple captain Trent as a differential. Again, when I got to second in the world last season, I captained Trent 3 times, and it's quite crazy because Salah would have been fit all 3 of those game weeks. So it goes to show that you can go a bit different with your captaincy. It's not going to burn you. I mean, it's still early doors if you think about it. It's game week 18, and that's the difference from what I'd done this year compared to last year. Last year I was taking a bit more punts on the captaincy. In game weeks like this, where Salah would play maybe the easiest team in the league. But for me right now, it's just how bad Leicester are and how good Liverpool are. I just can't see myself going away from Salah. especially with the form. Tiny Fungus says, morning Shy, good to see Alex. Saka to Son. I actually don't mind the move. Again, I'm not going to try sell you Son because from a fan perspective, he's been so poor to watch. But yeah, I do think, Spurs were currently 11th in the table. You can't imagine over the spell of these games that we're going to continue to stay at space. You'd like to think it would easily break into the top 8 come game week 20 something, surely. Again, maybe that's coming from an optimistic standpoint or a praying standpoint, but with players eventually coming back into the team, surely we start picking up some results. Are you selling Havertz after this game week, Chai? I don't plan on it, Amar. Again, I'll have 2 free transfers after this game week because I'm going to likely roll. Do you think KDB is going to start? I want to say he's due a start for sure. Who comes out of the team, I don't know. I can't imagine Foden comes out of the team. By the way, I really like Foden as a punt. Saka to Foden, I think is really interesting. Probably a bit better than we're making it out to be. Again, it's good to be skeptical about his minutes, though. Good to see Chewy FPL in chat. He is saying, Wildcard next game week, who would your favourite 1 week punt for Saka be? Chewy, if you're asking me, it gotta be Foden. Foden's up there, man, for sure. Hi, Chai, Son or Foden? If it's between Son or Foden, I mean, Spurs are still one of the best attacking sides in the league, and Son is on penalty, so it's hard for me not to say Son, especially when Foden is a bit more minutes risk than Son, so I want to say Son. Don't you think Salah will be rested against Leicester? I don't think he'll be rested, but I do think there's a chance he gets an early sub for sure. I don't doubt that, but I still expect, because Salah is one of the best fitness monsters in the league, and I would say the minimum minutes he gets is about 75. Unless Liverpool are absolutely cruising by half time, I can't see him getting any less than 75, to be honest. Especially when I look at this, the last time he was rested, or if you could even call it that, is Crystal Palace. But yeah, with the 3-day turnaround, okay, sure, it is probably likely, but there's no way I see him get a full rest. Mitoma out for a -4 for Sarr. I don't know about -4. That's actually quite interesting you say that, because for anyone that joined the stream about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there's one punt that I mentioned, and for anyone that was there, let me know if you were. And that was the Sarr punt I was talking about. I really, really liked the idea of him 3 weeks ago. And of course he's gone on hold and then had some decent returns since. So for anyone that went there, I doubt you did, because it was a bit foolish at the time, but it's come and worked out. And I do think he is a good pick, especially with Eze out now. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but probably better for Sarr's minutes. Robert says, could you compare Martinelli, Sarr, Kulu, Fernandes and other replacements for Saka? We can indeed. Let's do that real quick. So we'll just kind of cover each of them, I suppose. Who will we start with? Martinelli. So I don't love Martinelli. Any Arsenal fans in here, let me know. I think he's interesting because he can play on the right and the left. Comes in at a decent price point. But if we just look at his minutes, I mean, they're not great. Of course, with the injury now, he's going to get more minutes. But even if he is fit, I think he's one of the first to come off, personally. He's never been 90-minute man, from my understanding. So I don't mind him. Again, with the fixture congestion, he's definitely not going to be a 90-minute man. I'd be very surprised to see him stay on the pitch. But as punts go, we don't expect 90 minutes from punts. And that's a good thing to know for sure. And when you're looking at punts, you have to compare them to the other people at that price point. So like Robert has said, the likes of Sarr, Kulu, Fernandes and other replacements for Saka, there is a good case for going for Bruno Fernandes, absolutely. And there's a reason why he's one of the most popular Saka replacements. And it's because free kicks, penalties, of course. Some decent fixtures in there. I'm not going to say the best. But of course the 90 minutes that we are all looking for around Christmas time. I don't love the fixtures, don't get me wrong. But then again, they're not so bad. Newcastle, Liverpool, and a player like Fernandes can do well in the big games, even though we've not quite seen it too much this season. So Fernandes is the best pick of the bunch, but he's definitely not a differential. One differential right now is definitely Ismaila Sarr, and I do love the pick because he's just so cheap. 5.8 million. You get the Southampton at home fixture next week. Sure, Bournemouth away this week, which is not ideal, to be honest. It's a very tough fixture. Chelsea at home, not great. Leicester away, West Ham away, which are decent fixtures. So I love Sarr, personally. The next question is he better than Ahmed Diallo? So one player I clearly don't have in my team is Ahmed Diallo. And I think the two players that it would come down to for me at this price point is Diallo and Sarr. Let me just add Sarr into my own team so we can go back to him. But we'll talk about Diallo real quick. So, don't get me wrong. I think Diallo is actually a very, very good pick. Especially when you consider the price he comes out at 5.4. You look at the numbers he's building up. I mean, this is ridiculous for an asset of 5.4 million. And, of course, we still have to see a bit more from the new manager in a sense of what Amaran wants to do with the likes of Garnacho and Rashford. I don't know if they're going to be exiled from like what we've seen, or if he just wants to see a change in attitude from Rashford before he brings him back in. But you would expect Ahmed to continue to start. I do think a rest is coming though. Again, with the quick turnaround, I say quick, it is 4 days for United, but I can't see Ahmed continuing to start every single game and getting 90s. Again, he is a young lad, so there is a good chance that he does, but again, I just think it comes down to Amaran's system is so fresh, you wouldn't be surprised to see some rotation. And if there's one player that's going to be rotated, even though he's been great, it's probably Ahmed. So, I haven't gone with him. Last week, I went with Gordon. For anyone that doesn't know the moves I done last week, I brought in Anthony Gordon and who else did I bring in? João Pedro. Of course, the Pedro move didn't work out because of Kuna. And Gordon did return, but it was small. But again, Ahmed blanked, and if I looked at like in comparison to Gordon, I much prefer the minutes with Gordon and the shorty with him going into this Christmas period. Why can't I speak, man? Give me a second. Need to compose. So yeah, I think it is down to Sarr and Ahmed, and without a doubt, if you can get to a Bruno, it's easily Bruno. Again, maybe there is a shout for going Ahmed instead of Bruno because the 3 million price discrepancy though. And lastly, sorry, before I go back to answering some of your questions, and we'll bring up a Rob T graph in a second. The last man I wanted to speak about was Dejan Kulusevski, because he's been, in my opinion, one of the best midfielders in the league. And if he didn't play for Tottenham and Tottenham weren't 11th in the league, maybe I could sell him a bit better to you. But I think this man has been amazing. Like, I can't believe how good he's been. If I look at Tottenham players that have stood out for the last, maybe let's say 8-9 seasons, Harry Kane has been our best player every single season. For 24-25, our best player has been Dejan Kulusevski, and it will continue to be. He's been that good. Let me just quickly go over chat. Sorry if I've missed any of your questions. Be sure to repeat it. Mikey LCR says Merry Christmas all, and thanks to FPL Discomfort for the gifted. Merry Christmas, Mikey, and thank you for joining us for a stream. You had to be here to get one, so shout out Kieran. Ryan says, hey Chai, would you take a -4 to move Hall to Trent? That is tough. Who is the -4 for, or is it a one and done transfer? I do love the idea of bringing in Trent for a Leicester at home fixture. I mean, it makes sense in my eyes. I don't think Hall is a bad option though, don't get me wrong. Is it worth -4? I want to say yeah, because you're gonna want Trent anyway going forward into the double game week. Where are we? Okay, so Dejan Kulusevski, is he ever gonna be that explosive asset that gets you massive hauls? No, unless there's a massive uptick in Spurs' performances. I want to say it has to come down to Spurs playing better as a team before we start seeing some of the bigger hauls from Kulusevski. Again, 7, 8, and 7 though in, I would say, 3 tough fixtures and Southampton, or 2 tough fixtures and Southampton. He's one that I did say near the start of the season when I was on Ross's podcast. For anyone that hasn't watched that, it was between Brennan Johnson and Dejan Kulusevski, and don't get me wrong, the returns since then haven't been great, but I always said from a performance point of view, Kulusevski is the pick, and he's going to be way better in the long term for minutes. So definitely a really interesting pick. For 6.4 though, I think you would prefer a punt on Ahmed. What's that, 1 million in the difference, and what you get with Ahmed is a bit different. He's playing a number 10 role also, but maybe it's a bit more exciting, and the numbers is picking up look a bit more explosive than Kulusevski's. Okay, let me bring back up my team real quick for anyone that's just after joining us. Be sure to hit that like button, by the way. I keep forgetting to say it because it's been a while since I've done a stream. Ho Zong Zeng says, are you planning on making any transfer? I don't plan on it. Again, when I look at my team, I've got, 10 home fixtures. And Solanke with Nottingham Forest away, which is not a great fixture in terms of defensive numbers for Forest because they're quite good. But Solanke, after a big return versus Liverpool, more than happy to play him against Forest, of course. And it's good to see him finally return after me talking about him, how he's actually a decent asset when he's playing CDM. Semenyo or Ismail Assar? In that case, I have Munoz on my back. That's a really tough question. I want to say Semenyo. Bournemouth are very good, man. They are very good. And Sarah's done very, very well recently, but I think I would rather play Semenyo. Again, that is tough. Almost a flip of a coin. Trossard or Martinelli? I prefer Trossard. I just don't know what his minutes are going to look like. I don't know if I would be going to Trossard or Martinelli, but if I had to choose one, probably Trossard. Are you thinking of any differential captains or playing it safe with Salah? You know what, the only other one I think I would consider this game week, if it's not Palmer, is probably Trent. And why I think that is, I don't know, I can't see Leicester scoring against Liverpool. I just can't see it. And also, what it is if I expect Salah to be 70, 75 minutes, I also need to account, okay, that probably means Trent is going to be the same. Trent hasn't been a 90-minute this season. And also, he's still off the back of an injury. Like, he's still not fully fit, I want to say. So that's what puts me off captain Trent. I think in another world like last season, I'll be more than up for it. But if we just look at his minutes, you know, he's still only coming back 72, 23, 78, 90. Okay, he's building them back up, but if he was ever going to get a rest before a 3-day turnaround, it would be Leicester. Not a rest, but an early sub. So, still expect him to get around 75 minutes, but that's why I won't captain him, I don't think. And it makes way more sense to put it on Salah, let's be real. Gomez to Trent Alexander-Arnold for a hit. No, I don't think so. I don't think Nazar would do that. Again, it comes back to, if Trent had 90 minutes versus Leicester, I'd say sure, but I don't think he will. Best voice captain, Palmer or Trent? Voice captain, it probably still is Palmer, but I don't mind a Trent, I'll be honest. Why Pedro over Rodgers? Yeah, so I was a manager who benched Rodgers last game week. Brentford at home, though. Is it Brentford that are not great away? I'm fairly sure. Look, no, it's Brentford that are not good at home. I think João Pedro as a pick is still always going to be a better option than Rodgers. Newcastle away, St. James's Park, I know it's like a narrative that we create, even though they've not been great this season, but I still believe in them as a team when they're at St. James's Park. And Villa are very, very good defensively, I want to say. So I think it'll be a close game. And if it's a close game, I'd imagine it'd be low scoring. So that's my thought process on benching Rodgers rather than playing him ahead of Pedro. If we look at Pedro's minutes, 70, 90, 90. He goes in with Brentford at home and Villa away. It's actually a good point, and probably one that's not being spoke about, how he could be early subbed or even benched this game week, now that I look at it. But again, I think I definitely prefer João Pedro with Brentford at home than I do with Newcastle away for Rodgers. Tiny Fungus says, do I start Rodgers or Chris Wood? I would be inclined, personally, to start Chris Wood with how poor Spurs have been defensively. Shipping 6 at home to Liverpool, who are of course the best team in the league. But what I would say with that is how Forest are going to set up against Spurs is going to be really interesting. Forest have been so good defensively, but what you don't want to do at our stadium is sit back and relax and leave us attack you. You kind of really need to come on to us, which what Liverpool done. Forest, I don't know if they have the team to do that at our stadium, or not at our stadium, at their stadium, sorry. And I think it's going to be a really interesting game because Nuno, he's a bag of tricks up his sleeve. And after that loss for Spurs, I don't know, it could play out any way. But I think I would still start Chris Wood. Just because how we have no defenders, let's be real. FPL Doctor in here. Merry Christmas, Sean. My debate this week is who to start between Rodgers and Enzo. I benched Rodgers for his 14-pointer last game week. First off, Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas to anyone that's just joined us. Again, lots of questions this game week. Sorry if I can't get back to all of them. My debate this game week is who should I start between Rodgers and Enzo. What I would say is what happened last game week, that's there's nothing to do with this game week. I'll try to forget about that and have that out of my thought process. It is annoying though. I also done the same. Who's a better pick this game week? Enzo or Rodgers? I never really believed in Enzo as a pick, I'll be honest. But assuming you do because you own him, you have to start Enzo. If you're not going to start Enzo in a week like Fulham at home, in comparison to a Rodgers, I think, why do you have Enzo? You know what I mean? So I think the answer is definitely Enzo, assuming you believe in him. For me, I'm happy I don't have Enzo. I'm happy I don't have Diallo. I kind of want to just leave that play out and be proven wrong, but I would much prefer Rodgers, who I think is probably better for minutes than both of them, and a better asset in general. Should I sell Kuna after this game week to see how he does or before? I would start Kuna this game week. There's no chance he gets banned before this game. I'd be very surprised. More Than Choice says, Issa Sturg. He says, who would you bench out of Hall, Wan-Bissaka and Kirkez? How have you got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, first of all? Who would I bench? That is tough. Wan-Bissaka, I want to say, has no goal threat, even though I've seen him score this season. But in comparison to an on-form Hall and a Kirkez also, it's a bit tougher. Let me look at the fixtures just so I have a visual representation in front of me. I want to say you have to start Wan-Bissaka. Play the fixture, even though West Ham have not been great this season. What do you think about De Bruyne in for Saka? With a sports hernia, man, I just don't like De Bruyne's minutes, especially over the Christmas period. That's not to say you can't get a run of starts, but it's just too risky. I'd prefer to go to a Foden, I think. Sharaf says, good morning. Good to see you. Eddie Casey says, good morning, Choi. Buying Minoz for Collins and playing Minoz over Mazraoui, let me know. Would you buy in Minoz for Collins? Yes, I would make that move. Even though it is potentially a week early, but still not a bad move. Keith says, Mazraoui, Gordon, Kuna to Trent Alexander-Arnold, Sarr and Jesus for a -4. Or just Kuna to Jesus. I think if you have Kuna this game, we could just play him against United. Unless you're a United fan. But if you have Kuna, there's no reason to get rid of him, I don't think. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't play. I don't know if that -4 is justified, because then you can just have extra transfers for next week. Thoughts on Foden? I actually really like Foden. For sure. Adam Sousa, channel member, says, happy holidays, Shy. Quick question. Would you do Saka, Kuna to Isaac, Foden or Ode? Foden means I gotta use an extra transfer, -4. Odegaard I can do. And Kuna to Isaac. Should I take a hit? Wait. Thanks, Shy. Yeah, so if we look at my team, Isaac is one that I don't have. That's the first thing. I think the Odegaard punt is probably the one. And on that note, let me bring up Rob T real quick. We'll have a look at a graphic. By the way, the best graphic in the business. Go follow Rob T. But what I wanted to look at is this projected projected goal scorers. Of course, Mohamed Salah leads the line at 1.07 expected goals, providing he plays 90 minutes. That's a good thing to note, I'm fairly sure. Erling Haaland coming in at 0.88. Next is Diogo Jota. And then next is Kai Havertz. And I think that's where the money is for me in my own team. I could do with a really big game week from Kai Havertz this week with no Saka. Hopefully reap some benefits from some of the points I've missed out on from not owning Saka over the game weeks and having Havertz as a replacement. And this time it's kind of worked out in my favour that Saka's got injured, like I said. So I think we're in a really good position, especially when I look at a graph like this. Out of all the Arsenal assets, other than maybe Odegaard, who you don't see feature on this list, you'd want Kai Havertz in your team. Again, maybe his minutes are a small bit more unsure than the likes of Odegaard for sure, but you would still expect Havertz to play. Martinelli or Jesus? If I could choose between the two, it is Jesus. Again, Jesus can also play on the wing, by the way. And that might leave some room for a Trossard or a Havertz up top, which is asking for a lot again, but there might have to be a switch up in system for Arteta with Saka out. Losing Saka is massive, of course, and I don't need to tell you that. FPL Tough says, Merry Christmas, Chai. Have you discussed Jota yet? Appreciate he's a minutes risk, but he's a very, very dangerous asset, even off the bench, and that's a very, very good point. Let me bring up Diogo Jota real quick. For anyone that knows me, I love a Diogo Jota. I do think he's Liverpool's main man when he's fit, and he's after getting a little rest, so 11 minutes versus Fulham, which I think he played amazing when he came on. 22 minutes versus Spurs, and he's been rested since, so I would expect 70 minutes for Jota against Leicester. And you can look at this two ways. Let me bring up the fixture. So like I said, it's a 3-day turnaround for Liverpool. What does that mean in terms of looking at Jota from an FPL asset? The way I read into that is either two things happen. He's going to play 90 minutes versus Leicester, and he is going to haul. That's the first option. If he plays 90 minutes versus Leicester, I can guarantee you he's going to haul. And I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. Again, look at this graph. He's third on the list. Of course, Salah topping it. But if we look at this graph, Liverpool expected to score 3.85 versus Leicester this game week at home. This is one of the biggest we've seen this season. Again, I'll be very surprised. Let's be real. Jota's probably not going to get 90 minutes versus Leicester. But if you consider the fact that he's not played against Fulham and Tottenham, and he's only after coming back from injury, you'd imagine he's fairly fit at this point. I could easily see 75 versus Leicester. Obviously, that comes with the caveat of probably almost definitely being benched by West Ham, for West Ham. But if you have a good 8 attacker and you want to go for a punt like him and then have a fully fit Jota for United at home, I mean, he's a really, really, really nice pick this game week, I want to say. Doubling up on that Liverpool attack, this game could be anything. And Vinicius, Leicester just looks so poor defensively, so I think the upside is there, only if you're more than willing to bench him against West Ham. I think you can make a really good, educated guess depending on this Leicester fixture. Of course, if Liverpool are up 4-0 at half time, he's going to come off after 60 minutes maybe. And if he gets 60 minutes versus Leicester, you probably expect him to start versus West Ham. And if he gets any more than 70 minutes, you probably expect him to be benched versus West Ham. In that case, he'll be fit for United. So, yeah, Diogo Jota, lovely pick. The upside is there, and he's my type of pick, except my midfield is fairly stacked. Let me go back to this graph. This is probably the most interesting graph this game week. Arsenal expected to score 3 goals, which is ridiculous. Harshank says, Leicester, 0.85 a sign on Liverpool's defence getting weaker. I don't think so, Harshank. You know, if you look at the clean sheet probability for Liverpool, it's still at 50%, which is really, really high. Especially when you consider Arsenal at home is 52%. So, no doubts in my mind for Liverpool on a defensive point of view, I don't think. Ayoshoi, any news about Kuna? I would be very surprised if Kuna doesn't play. So, no news on Kuna. Like you have to give, first of all, Wolves more notice that he's not going to play. Never mind Kuna notice that he's not going to play. I already have Havertz. Do you think Odegaard over Foden and save myself on a transfer for Isaac, or just punt on Foden? I have to say I do love a little punt on Foden. Again, maybe it comes back to last season where I got on him just before he became the best player in the league last season, which is amazing timing now that I look at it in hindsight. Everton at home, and City looking very poor. They need a win. I mean, I don't mind them at all. And a goal late in the game last game week. So I do think there's a case for going for Foden for sure. Just start Rodgers or sell Saka and bench Rodgers. Well, Saka's going to be out for a while, so I'll just get rid of Saka. Hey, Shai, what do you think about buying someone from the Everton back line? Yeah, so let's speak about Mikalenko, who's been an absolutely outrageous asset in the last few game weeks. 6-6, -1, 11, 7 and 7 in arguably the most difficult fixture run of the season so far for a team like Everton. I mean, it's ridiculous. Is he going to carry up this form? No, he's not. Let's be real. A Sean Dyche team can always do that, but I can't say I'd necessarily be looking for an Everton asset with this fixture run, which is ridiculously difficult. When you look at the fact of course, City, who are probably going to bash Everton. Again, I'm going to regret saying that because I say it every single week, but I can't see City not bashing Everton just by virtue of how they play. Forest, who are looking like one of the best teams in the league, and Bournemouth, who are currently very high in the table as well. Villa, Spurs, Brighton, all teams that we know can score goals. So I wouldn't be looking at Everton option myself. I mean, it's easy to get carried away when you look at the recent fixtures. But I mean, for 4.3, what else from an asset are you looking for other than 90 minutes? And Mikalenko is a man for 90 minutes, providing he's fit. But yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable starting him every week. FPL PZ, he start Verbergen or Fabianski. I think you gotta start again, play the fixture and start Fabianski again. I don't love it though. Southampton are a team that can score. Leet says, Shoya, I hope you had a good Christmas. Absolutely, had a really good Christmas. Thank you for asking. Start Lewis Hall or Levi Colwill. I think I would be starting Lewis Hall. Again, that comes down to form. Colwill is not a bad option either, but Fulham have looked quite good this season. And to be honest, Villa have looked fairly flat in recent game weeks. And I like the idea of playing Lewis Hall at home. Some decent attacking upside there, so I would much prefer to chase the upside. Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus or Palmer and Jackson. Palmer and Jackson without a shadow of a doubt. I would say. This game week though, probably Jesus and Martinelli. But going forward, definitely Palmer and Jackson. Is Alisson a potential option over Raya? He's cheaper. And another question, will Virgil and Trent owner move on Konate, as he will give them an extra like 1.5 or 2 million, and he's good on bonus? It's hard to say about Konate just yet. That's the first thing. I think Trent, he still is the money move. That is well worth it for the extra 1.5. Of course, we've seen a 24-pointer, I believe it was, this time last season versus Leicester at home as well. So, not last season, a few seasons ago, sorry. So I don't mind spending the extra money on Trent. Alisson is an interesting one. I don't mind Alisson, again, over Raya. If I look at the fixture this game week, Ipswich at home, Leicester at home, probably Alisson is just as good as Raya this game week. And when you look at the market odds, Arsenal are only 2% over Liverpool this game week to keep a clean sheet. So I think there is definitely a case for going for Alisson. But again, I would be just as happy going with Raya, to be honest. But when you consider the double game week, actually, that's another thing for Alisson. Definitely a shout. Who would you go instead of Aït-Nouri? Can't afford Trent. Instead of Aït-Nouri, you're not really spoiled for choice around that price band, I want to say. I'm so happy I got rid of Aït-Nouri, by the way. He's just been a headache for managers. And people are forced to make moves on a weekly basis with the likes of Aït-Nouri, Kuna potentially coming up as an issue, and now Saka. And they're all players that I just don't own. The next one that would be ideal, again, I would never pray for an injury for a player, but from an FPL point of view, is Isak. Isak is killing my rank every single game week, and if he hadn't scored a hat-trick last week, I think I'd almost be in the top 150k. Again, if buts and maybes, but let me look at replacements for an Aït-Nouri. We'll have a look down this list for anyone that is looking for one also. I mean, Anthony Robinson, he's up there. Again, the fixture's not great though this game week and next game week. What's Kirkes saying? Decent fixtures. I think for me it's Daniel Munoz, if you can stretch to him. I do love Daniel Munoz. Bournemouth this week, Southampton at home the following week. And he's just getting into some really good areas. Crystal Palace are starting to look a small bit better. Maybe it is a small bit too early to be hopping on though, but I do think Daniel Munoz provides some very, very good upside. Merry Christmas, Shoy. Merry Christmas, Giadzeg. Tosin Kulusevski scored 5 games in a row. Yeah, Kulusevski is deadly, but in terms of FPL asset, I think he's decent. Just compared to Sarr and Amad Diallo for the price, I don't know if the price for Kulusevski is justified. But again, he is a 90-minute man, and again, over this Christmas period, he's going to get multiple starts. So I would say he's reliable in that sense. Bench one of Hall, Robinson or Colwill. Again, I think you got to bench either Hall or Colwill. I think I prefer benching Colwill personally. Would you bench Robinson or Aït-Nouri? That is tough again. United don't look great. Robinson, who's been on decent form. I don't like either of them. I'll be honest. Watch Trent cook. But if I had to choose, I would probably bench Aït-Nouri by virtue of how good Fulham have been this season. Captain Haaland or Palmer? That's an interesting one. I think if I had Haaland, I'd be thinking about him captain for sure. I assume you don't have Salah if you're planning on captain one of these two guys. So in that case, I think I would probably, if I'm going to be different, I'm going to be very, very different to try catch some more upside. I probably would do it on Haaland. Soul says, of 4 free transfers, Aït-Nouri to Trent Alexander-Arnold, Saka to Bowen, Emile Smith-Rowe to Jota, and Watkins to Jesus. That is so chasing the upside, and I kind of love it, to be honest. Emile Smith-Rowe to Jota, I mean, it feels a bit sideways, but very high upside this game week. Watkins to Jesus as well. I mean, that's a nice move, but over the long run, how does that work out? Okay, Aït-Nouri to Trent, sure, beautiful. Saka to Bowen, very nice this week, but do you want a player like Bowen going into Liverpool and City? I'm unsure. So I would say definitely yes to Aït-Nouri and Trent. Saka to Bowen, I would have a second thought about it when you look at some of the other options, like for example Bruno, even a Gordon, or one of the cheaper guys like Amad Diallo. Emile Smith-Rowe to Jota, again high upside, but I would temper my expectations for minutes on Jota. I would say he probably definitely starts the Leicester a home game, and if you've got a nice 8th attacker, I mean sure you could bench him for the next game. Watkins to Jesus. Okay, I understand your frustration with Watkins, but again, come game week 21, how does your team look with the likes of Jota, Jesus in it? I'm unsure. But yeah, 2 or 3 out of those 4 moves I would say are nice. Would I be using 4 free transfers on it? I don't know. Like I wouldn't mind holding on to maybe a Watkins. I can't see him benched again, surely. By Robertson or Guardiola? Robertson, I want to say, who's looked quite poor, but again he plays for second best defence in the league. Transfer out Kirkes or Lewis for Trent? I would transfer out Kirkes. Again, City are the early kickoff today. I doubt we're going to get some early team news. We haven't seen it in a while, but you never know. Larson and Saka to Isak and Kulu for a -4. Yeah, I love those moves, personally. I would do those moves this game week. Big win. Dylan Brunnan says, morning Chai, bench Raul or Rodgers? Raul or Rodgers? I'd probably bench Raul. Man, Rodgers was so good against City. So good against City. Long time no see, says Chess Econ. Good to see you, man. Happy holiday, Choi. Between Hall, Robinson, Mikalenko, start 2. I would start Hall and Robinson. I wouldn't go near Mikalenko personally. Harshank says you probably Trent to Virgil and Gordon to Bruno. I could do that, but again, I think Trent provides some really high upside. Fucking hell, Adam, man. Come on. Adam Sousa, channel member, with the $20 US super chat. First off, that's the biggest super chat I've ever got. And I don't know why you're sending me money. I'm trying my best, man. And thank you so much. Appreciate you, my guy. I have no idea what the fuck the drinking age is where you are and what your age is. But have a few drinks on me. Happy holidays. Man, that's such a kind message. Not even any questions about FPL. He's just trying to throw me his money. Yes, I am at the legal age of drinking. I'm 21, turning 22 in February. And I'm Irish, so you better know I'll have a few drinks on Adam Sousa. So shout out Adam Sousa. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. That's so kind of you. Your support doesn't go unseen, man. Thank you so much. And considering I've been absolutely slacking on the content, I barely can make the streams. But yeah, so kind of you, Adam, and it's great to see you've been supporting for a while. Can't believe that. $20 super chat. That's ridiculous, Adam. Merry Christmas. Man, I love the community here. Yeah, no, to be fair, the FPL community, we always speak and see things on Twitter, but I've seen from myself, even my own chat, I mean, the community is fairly tight-knit. I see the same people in here supporting me on a weekly basis when I get the opportunity to. And I see so many familiar faces, and there are a lot of nice comments that are not spoken about, even though there is always going to be that bunch that stand out as poor. But to all those guys who are consistent and are always supporting, not even just myself, some of the other content creators, I mean, we really appreciate you. And it's hard to get back to all of you when there's so many questions, but your love doesn't go unseen, honestly. And it's easier for me because I've got a bit of a tighter knit group who are consistently in here, but I really appreciate you guys, and thank you over the holiday period for supporting us. And on that note, Paul is after gifting a channel membership, and you never guess who's after it landing on. Robert Zaheril, who's always in here. So Robert, if you want to send me your number on Twitter or X, I'll get you added into the WhatsApp group. Thank you, Paul, for gifting a membership. It's really feeling festive in here. Thank you so much, Paul. Much love. And to be honest, I couldn't have thought of giving it to a better person than Paul. Okay. Very given in here. Let me go back to some FPL. Thank you guys again. So 107 people in here. You don't have to send me money. If you're going to do anything to support the channel, hit that like button. And again, going back to my team, let's have a look at how I plan my game weeks going forward. So here is my current team for game week 18. 0.3 in the bank, 1 free transfer, captaincy on Mohamed Salah, 70.8 expected points. Fairly ridiculous, to be honest, and I think I'm in a good spot. Of course, let's have a look. It's all good and well to look at the fixtures I have and how I look going into the game week, but who don't I have going into this game week? Who stands out? I think the first thing to note is definitely Alexander Isak with Villa at home. St. James's Park, Alexander Isak is an absolute monster, but you know who else is really, really good at home, and that's Anthony Gordon. He's not one that's been talked about by many people, and I'm actually quite excited to own him going into this Villa fixture. I don't see a Villa clean sheet. Again, I do think it will be a tight affair, I want to say. But definitely excited to own Gordon, and I'm not excited to not own Isak, to be honest. But other than that, I don't see any gaping holes in my team in terms of assets that I don't own who are highly owned in the community. I think maybe one more is the likes of a Kuna. A lot of people have held on to Kuna and will play him against United who haven't looked great. What's your plan with João Pedro? Ha says. So I'm only after bringing in João Pedro last game week. I do believe in him as an asset. I've only just brought him in, so I think over this period I'm more than happy to own him. Jonathan says last season wasn't tight at all. Newcastle absolutely hammered us. Yeah, so this is what I was gonna say. At St. James's Park, anything can happen. When I say a tight affair, I kind of mean more so like these are two as a matchup from teams. Newcastle at home and Villa away. These are two teams at similar strength, I want to say. That's what I meant. Apologies. But yeah, let's bring up StatMoose real quick, who we always bring up. While we're on this, before I get on to actually speaking about this, let's look up Newcastle versus Villa. While Jonathan is after bringing this up, Newcastle versus Villa, Aston Villa. And we'll have a look at how some of their fixtures have played out in recent seasons. 4-3, 2-all, 1996. Let me go to more recent fixtures. Where are we? 3-1, 5-1, 3-0, 4-0. It's a game that's had goals in it in recent seasons. And again, when Newcastle are at home, I always feel like it can be a big scoreline. Robert with the 10 RON. I don't know what currency that is, but he says Larson to Jesus, Isak already got Gordon, or Dallo to Trent Alexander-Arnold with a spicy emoji. That is tough. I would go Larson to Isak. Would I double up? Okay, no. I would go Dallo to Trent, and that goes to the really good fixture this game week. And also the double game week coming up for Trent. So if I could choose one, it is Trent Dalot to Trent. But I do love Larson to Isaac if you can get there. But yeah, probably just Trent for me. And thank you for the super chat. Let me go back to the Rob T graphic for anyone that's just joining us. Larson or Iwobi? I prefer Iwobi. Nah, I went Duran. Fair enough. That's interesting. Rodgers has nice fixtures after Newcastle. He does indeed. Who else stands out for this on this graph? Interesting to see. Nottingham Forest I expect to score 1.85. That's actually quite high. It's not looking good for Spurs, is it? We're in a bit of a weird position. I don't know what to make of us. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we just went and netted 3 versus Forest at the same time. It's just the type of team we are. Maddison and Jesus or Bruno and Pedro? Bruno and Pedro for me. 2 guys on penalties and 2 guys who are probably going to get more minutes than Maddison and Jesus. Foden or KDB this game week? For me, it's Foden. Start Rodgers or Enzo? I want to say Rodgers. Ooh, or would I say Rodgers? Again, if you have Enzo's for a reason, so actually I'm going to say Enzo. Guys, please bring it up if you see lineup leaks. Don't worry, we've got our moderator George in here in chat who will keep us up to date with any leaks. And of course, I'll be looking on Twitter myself. On that note, let's do a cheeky scroll on Twitter. See if we have any early movers. Happy Boxing Day, by the way, for anyone that celebrates it. Play Rodgers for Saka and upgrade Isaac or replace Saka. I would definitely replace Saka because he's going to be out for a while, it looks like. Let's see. Spiros. Okay, let's look at what an AI team is doing. It's rolling the transfer and captain Mohamed Salah with 1.6 million overall rank. It's an interesting team for the AI. It still believes in Mbeumo, Guardiola. You know what? I think Guardiola is a deadly option going over this run. I'm going to be honest. Not a lot of people would like that, but I do think he's a decent option. Is Robertson expected to start? I mean, I would be surprised not to see Robertson, if you're asking me. Start Mbeumo or Semenyo? I think he'd definitely start Mbeumo, personally. Let's try do another refresh, see if we can catch anything, and then we'll move back on to my team. And again, actually no, we'll do that now. So I'm going to roll this game week. 100% confirmed. There's no reason, in my opinion, to make a transfer. Let's move on to game week 19, which is around the corner. 3 days away. Team is expected to score 55 points. It's not so good on paper this game week as it is, of course, game week 18. But it's still decent. Brentford away for Arsenal. West Ham away for Trent. 9 away fixtures from my team. And Bone and Solanke at home with Liverpool and Wolves. It's not great, I'll be honest. David in chat, he says Mohamed Salah the absolute GOAT. Absolutely. This game week I probably would bench Bone. Again, part of me would like to start him and potentially, depending on how many minutes Pedro gets against Brentford, potentially even start Bone with Liverpool at home. Now, I know you'd say Liverpool are probably one of the better teams in the league, but Jared Bowen is a good asset who can return against the bigger teams in my eyes. And I don't look at it as a game week to get rid of him just yet. Look at some of the players I could bring in potentially for Jared Bowen if I do want to get rid of him. Ahead of this fixture run with Liverpool, City, Fulham, Crystal Palace, Villa, Chelsea, which is a diabolical run. One player is Ismail Assar with Southampton at home, Chelsea, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford. I really do like that run. And of course, Villa's fixtures come back into favour as well. So let's put Sarr in theory in this slot for game week 19. By the way, this is a game week 19 early look. Southampton at home, it looks very, very good. And another move that I would love to do is Daniel Munoz. But bringing in double Crystal Palace isn't that appetizing, I'll be honest. It is a bit, I don't know, it just doesn't look great. Would you upgrade Porro to Trent this week? In a heartbeat, I would upgrade Porro to Trent, to be honest. I think when Destiny Adogi comes back, I don't know when that's going to be. But Jed Spence has looked so good. So yeah, Merry Christmas Choi says potential difference says, should I get Isaac for Kuna for a -4 or use my wildcard? Potential difference, I wouldn't be using any hits, especially if I had my wildcard and you have to play it in either this game week or next game week. It's a good thing to know. So I'd definitely pull the wildcard trigger. But when you're asked that question, you've maybe 38 minutes to decide what your wildcard team is going to be. And I don't know if that's enough time for you to make it. So I wouldn't be taking any hits for sure. Hey Chai, would you start Rodgers or Van Heck? I'll be starting Rodgers, always the attacker. Not taking Saka out, as I'm not sure who to put in. That's a fair point, but you're going to lose some value on Saka, and he is going to be out for the coming game week, so I don't mind getting rid of him. Start Rico Lewis or Hall? I would start Rico Lewis. Liam Campbell says, hi Chai, would you do Saka to Odegaard and Van Heck to Trent for a -4? I would definitely do those moves for a -4, because you're going to want Trent regardless. Who would you play, Rodgers or Johnson? That's actually a tough one. And I don't know if Rodgers or if Johnson is going to start this game week. Usually I have a fair idea, but how good Maddison has been, it's almost, there's no world in which I see Johnson starting, to be honest. I think especially because Kulu's better defensively, gives us a bit of cover. So I probably would play Rodgers, sorry. How do you rate Mateta versus Minoz if you could only get one? I love Mateta, man. I think he's definitely underneath the radar. And he's probably on penalties with the likes of Eze being out now. If I could only pick one between Daniel Minoz and Mateta, it's really interesting. Look how good these fixtures are, by the way. I want to say... It's tough, man. That's a tough question. I'm going to say Minoz because I still believe in Solanke. I don't know if you own Solanke, but I think Solanke is still a very good option, lads. Who's my favourite Saka replacement? Probably Sarr. Probably Sarr. Again, it's just a price point. And you'll want to have funds to get to a Trent / move on one of your strikers if you're not happy with him and potentially bring in a Solanke. Again, I know a lot of people don't back that. By the way, shout out to the person who was speaking about Jacob Murphy a few game weeks ago. He's absolutely killed it since we spoke about him. Hi, I went Martinelli and Jesus double up. Good luck, Adam. That is insane, and I hope it works out for you. Start Hall or Mazraoui. Mazraoui looks quite nice this game week. I think I would punt on a Mazraoui, to be honest. Hall is the right answer. Mazraoui is the punty answer. How does my team look for game week 20 if I do make both of those moves? Not great, to be honest. So I do think I'm only going to make one of those moves the next game week. Let me bring back up how my team looks on the FPL website. I know FPL team or any other websites can be difficult to look at when you're so used to this. And for anyone joining us, be sure to hit that like button. I appreciate you. Let's do a poll. Is anyone not captain in Salah? Captaincy. Let's do Salah, Palmer, and of course other. If you're going other, put it in chat. I can't imagine anyone else is going other though. Mbeumo or Martinelli? I mean, if you own Mbeumo, just hold on to him. If you're bringing one in, I suppose Martinelli. Spud says, Story Choi, I have 2 free transfers. Thinking of taking out Strand Larson for Isaac. Great move. And taking out De Bruyne for a 6.4 mid. In 2 minds as my mini league, I'm first for this month for a prize. 2 out of 2 and in second place. And they have Isaac, who's been ripping up the past few game weeks. Yeah, okay. First thing is, I haven't owned Isaac for the last few game weeks and I've seen green arrows. So you can definitely do well without Isaac, especially when he's almost 9 million. That's the first thing. Whether or not you want to break up your team to try go sideways and bring in a player who your mini league rival also has, I'm unsure. Again, I'd really have to look at my team and his team. But what I would say about De Bruyne is he's probably one you want to get rid of. He's probably killing you. I just don't know if it's worth getting rid of De Bruyne this week. I would love if the team news got leaked and De Bruyne was starting. I'd be more than happy to hold on to him for sure. Again, he's definitely one to get rid of though. With the sports turner, you just never know which game he's going to play. To answer your question, I'm in two minds. What should I do, or who do I get rid of? I think in general, for the next few game weeks, it is a good move to probably get rid of De Bruyne. What 6.4 mid you go to, I'm unsure. Maybe a Sarr or a Diallo if you don't already have him. But yeah, Strand Larson in general for Isaac is a good move. And taking out De Bruyne is a good move. So I probably would do that. Son or Foden? The big question for me. I would just go Son. Better minutes. Penalties. I would go Son. Would you sell Saka for Bruno, Martinelli or Sarr? Again, it really depends on what you want to do with your structure. For me, the default answer probably is Bruno. But I look a bit more long term, and if I want the likes of an Erling Haaland for this run, potentially in the future, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to go to a Bruno, because you're never going to have the funds if you go a Bruno. Whereas, like, if you go Sarr, you could potentially open up some funds for Erling Haaland, which I do think is a very, very nice differential for this coming game week run. Let me bring up Erling Haaland, a man that we've not spoken about, for a team who have looked absolutely shattered. But let's be real. These 5 fixtures, even Chelsea at home, City are going to score goals. City are going to score goals. And you know what? Out of the trenches is speaking about Haaland. He's saying, is Haaland a sell on Wildcard? If I was on Wildcard, I think I'd be Wildcarding with Haaland on. I'd be going against the structure slash template. I'd be going Palmerless, to be honest. And the reason for that is because you need Salah with the double game week coming up. Again, it's so punty, but again, you want to try to get on these players in these runs. And of course, Haaland from game week 0 to 6, he scored 10 goals. Then we didn't see it over the next maybe 10 game weeks. And Palmer has been so good, don't get me wrong. But maybe like you want to try to do something a bit different. Maybe just, especially on a wildcard, why not do something different? You can always just revert back, or, I mean, that run for Haaland though is ridiculously good. So I don't see why you wouldn't want to go for a little bit of a punt. Can you make a wildcard draft? I mean, sure I could, but I can't imagine many other people in here are also on wildcard. Okay, only because you asked nicely. Let's do a little wildcard draft. Again, this is so off the cuff, and it's just going from me as a punty manager. It's not to say it's the best thing to do, but this is probably what I would do. Let's have a look. I would go with a 4.5 striker in place here, I think. Wildcard draft. Okay, a few people are asking for it. Let's do it. 125 people in here. Thank you for joining me, by the way. Be sure to hit that like button, please. Let's put in Marsh for the time being. For anyone that's joining us, this is a little wildcard draft. We've got a little request. So I'm just having a little look on what I'd potentially do. Again, it is hard to make a wildcard draft because I'm dropping the likes of Cole Palmer, which I don't love. It is risky. But for the sake of the draft, I'm bringing in Erling Haaland with these fixtures. Let's see what it looks like. Let's put in Diallo, because again, we're going to need some budget midfielders. And you need a Trent, I think. You can't have Raya, Gabriel. I think I would... It's impossible, because you want big at the back at the same time. Diaz feels like a great punch, sure, but Gakpo is always lurking in the shadows. $352 select replacement for 9.5 million. I mean, it is so bold, and it has no Arsenal attack. And I would put Daniel Munoz here. And I would put Alisson on goal. Ooh, Dwight McNeil double, someone is after saying. That's actually a good shout. You have to account for the double. By the way, sorry if anyone is so confused what I'm doing. I'm making a wildcard team. Is Lewis playing for City today? I would say he's likely. So if I was wildcarding, I would love it to look something like this, to be honest. Whether or not you keep Gordon, I don't know. It's such a weird team, man. Such a weird team. You could go to White McNeil for the double, or you could just move him in. So yeah, this is 3-5-2. You're probably looking at this and being like, Choi, what is that? Like, what is that? Because right now it goes against the template like so heavily. But I do think we're gonna see a switch in Foden and Haaland's performance, in my opinion. And right now it looks so stupid with the likes of Liverpool being so good attackingly and having a really good fixture this game week, and Arsenal also. But I just don't know, unless you go maybe an Odegaard here, which looks quite good, to be honest. That gives you way more shorty and mins, and try stretch some funds elsewhere. The Bishop of Ballybeg returns. I think Rashford is better. I don't think so. Where would I stretch funds here to try bring in Odegaard? I think I would like Odegaard if I'm going this type of structure to get minutes. You can't get rid of Gabriel, can you? Like, surely not. Okay. No Arsenal defence, double Liverpool. It kind of sounds crazy. I would definitely do something different though if I was on Wildcard. It's just the type of manager I am. And it's exactly what I done last season. That's not to say it was the right decision, but maybe go with a Lewis. Enrico Lewis, Triple City on the Wildcard, who look absolutely disconfigured. Yeah, no, this isn't. This is just food for thought. This is not the draft I would make, but some of the players or options I would look at. Again, you'd also have to look at when you want a bench boost. Of course, you don't want a dead asset like a Marsh in that position or a Greaves. But when you bring in Haaland and you want Salah, you got to make some sacrifices. Anyway, that's enough on that draft. I'm sick of looking at that. Let me go back to my own team. For anyone that's just joined us, I would go with a Forest in that structure, says Robert. Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably missing a bit of Forest, but I don't know if they can continue that form. Don't you think Foden, lads, that good lost 11 out of 12? Yeah, I do think Foden is a shout. I mean, why not take a little bit of a punt? By the way, that poll is on 85% on Mohamed Salah. Let me close that up real quick. That was a bit of an obvious poll. I'm going to assume a lot of people are rolling this game week unless they have Saka, who they are going to get rid of. You know, one thing I'm very happy about, and this is a more of a general type of conversation, but it's talking about Slanky and my rank. For weeks and weeks and weeks, I've went without an Isaac, and I've done fairly well. Like, if we look at my team last game week, I got 92 points, even without Isaac, who got a hat-trick, of course. And when Isaac got a hat-trick, I was, like, mortified, to be honest. I thought my rank was going to be absolutely shot. But, of course, last game week was very, very good. And we sit at a really, really nice overall rank of 340k. And for a content creator, maybe it's not where you want to see it at this point in the season, but in general, you want to see green arrows, and we're on the right track. A whole lot of green. And Havertz, if Havertz can just have a really big game week for me. Played 57 minutes against Crystal Palace, so he's going to get the start versus Ipswich. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. If I could get a nice little 10-point haul, I mean, I'd be over the moon. I would make up for any of the hassle he's caused me in recent weeks. But saying that, 6 points, 2 points, 5 points, 2 points, 6 points. It's not the worst in the world. I'm with Ipswich at home. Surely I can be excited to own him. Food for thought should always be a regular section. That's a good idea, especially when I don't do weekly videos. Maybe it is a shout. Bassett says, "Hey man, Merry Christmas. What do you think of Saka and Foden? I don't know who to get." I love it. I love it, Bassett, to be honest. And Merry Christmas to you. Any Man City news, Chai? Tempted to go Foden for Saka? No, we've not got anything as of yet. Of course, my moderator, George, is keeping an eye on any early news, so we'll keep you updated. Post deadline idea, design your team's kit. It's a shout for sure. Do you have your own league for the channel? I do indeed. It is. Let me look at what my league is. My league is YouTube FPL Choi. I'm currently 270 in it. Absolutely stinking up the gaff. But be sure to join. The league code is here. EH47SR. EH47SR. And there is a prize going for it at the end of the season. So if you want to join the league, there is the link. And come and try beat me. How far off am I? I'm currently on 1065 points. So I am 150 points off number 1, which is Faizan Nazir. Faizan, I don't know if you're in here, but let me know. Let's have a look at what overall rank Faizan is. Let's see how the competition in FPL Choi's League is. James says, thank you for the channel membership. Welcome to a cup of chai, James. And again, like I said, be sure to DM me on Twitter and I'll get you added to the channel membership group chat on WhatsApp. 1211. How many points is that? 1211. Overall rank, where are you? 1211. That is inside the top 100. So fair play. That is absolutely ridiculous. And assuming you're in the top 100, surely you're not listening to me as your choice of streamer. Or else you wouldn't be in the top 100. Colwell or Milenkovic for Trent Alexander-Arnold? It would be Milenkovic for me. Start 2 of Rodgers, Wood or Mitoma. Again, I'd be inclined to start Chris Wood for sure. Mitoma with Brentford at home or Rodgers with Newcastle away. I think it is Mitoma for me. Hi Andy Martin, play Flecken or Verbergen / Semenyo or Rodgers. It's actually Andy Martin's 40th birthday, I'm fairly sure. So go say happy birthday to him. Flecken or Verbergen. Flecken for save points. I always feel like Brentford concede a lot of shots. That's the first thing. Semenyo or Rodgers is Semenyo for me. João Pedro to Duran, yes or no? No. Hi Chai. For this week only, says Daniel O'Hanlon. Would you pick Jackson, Jesus, or back a cheeky punt on Duran? I'd be going Jesus, for sure. Sell Colwell and Mbuemo or Trent and... Sell Colwell and Mbuemo for Trent and Sar / Ahmed. I would sell... Oh, that's tough. Like, Colwell and Mbuemo are still decent assets. That's the first thing. Trent, okay, has some very high upside this game week. And Sar and Ahmed look very exciting for the future. I don't mind those moves if they're for free. Aina or Robinson. Again, Aina has been a ridiculous option this season so far, and so is Robinson. Can they keep up this form? I just question. Bringing in Aina for Spurs at home is not ideal, I want to say. I think there's no world in which Spurs don't score. Again, a bit biased, but maybe you can tell me I'm wrong. In terms of Robinson, sure, he's a great option, but his fixtures don't look great coming into these next game weeks. They are a decent side, though. So, I don't fancy either of them, but if I had to choose, maybe Aina. I feel like Forest can keep up decent defensive numbers for the season. Whole or Lewis? Lewis. Mark says he's wildcard next week. Is it worth taking a -4 for a 1 week punt? Konate, Saka, to João Pedro. Ooh, Mark, I really like that. I think I would take a -4 and try catch some upside. Whether or not you go to a Jesus or Jota, I don't know. Or actually, sorry, you mentioned all three. Why not go for all three? Just because I would say I'd be very surprised if Jota didn't start this game week. So I'd be more than up for going for a punt. Havertz and a 6.5 midfielder or Jesus and Mbuemo. I want to say Havertz and the 6.5. But again, if you already have Mbuemo, maybe hold on to him. Maybe. Start Fabianski or Flecken. I was starting Fabianski. Attack the fixture. What would you say is your best Saka replacement? Again, it really depends on the structure. I don't think there is one best option. So, that's tough. Best option, it probably is Bruno. Again, it comes down to the minutes over the Christmas period. I still have Kuna. Should I get rid? No, you shouldn't get rid for United. Alisson, Martinelli, or Raya and Diaz. That's tough. To be honest, it's either. If you look at, again, going back to Rob T's graphic, actually it's not there. Arsenal and Liverpool are about the same to keep a clean sheet this game week. What Alisson has on Raya is the double game week. But of course, if you're also bringing in a Diaz, he also has a double. So maybe that's not a good comparison. Probably would be Alisson and Martinelli. Try save some funds. Choi says Casper Salo. He says, hi Choi, Wissa to Jackson or Jesus, or just roll and assess next game week. Wissa to Jackson or Jesus. You could roll, unless you want to be a bit more aggressive, of course. I think I'd like to be a bit aggressive with the Jesus / Jackson. I think I would go Jesus though. It is a bit spicy though. Maybe it's not up your alley because Jesus has never been a good man for minutes, to be honest. Will he see your team again this season, Erling Haaland? I don't know. I really, really don't know. I want to say he will be in some people's team for sure. Whether or not he'll be in my team, I don't know. I feel like 14.8 million now. When you have Palmer at 11.3, Salah, who is just the best asset in the game and always has been. It's very, very hard, but I do think there is some upside for going for Erling Haaland over this run. What's your opinion on Salah's Christmas curse? I don't know if I believe in it. Actually, I don't believe in it, but maybe I'll start believing if he doesn't get a return with Leicester at home after returning in the last forever. I'll start believing it if he blanks with Leicester at home after returning like this in the last 10 game weeks. But yeah, it's funny. People are waiting for Salah to post that. Okay, let's do a scroll on Twitter. Make sure we don't miss anything. By the way, what's the goal for the end of the season? What's your current rank? Put it in chat. Your current rank. I am, of course, at 340k. I'll put it in just so you guys put it in after me. Hello and Merry Xmas, says Marco. Merry Christmas. And my goal is top 10k, of course. The goal for me is always top 10k. Whether or not we can do it, that's another thing. Let's take a look at simply FPL Sam, one of the men in the FPL community that actually inspired me to make content. Shout out Sam. He's currently 700k in the world. Saka, Pedro, Kuna, Takulu, Isaac and Jesus for a -4. That is some crazy work, but I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Who we got? We have a Rosen, 880k gold, top 10k. It's still on the cards. IDK says 3.6 mil. 3.6 mil, sure, but if you have a top 10k end of the season, you'll be looking at maybe a top 50k rank, I want to say. Shinali at 1.5. Levi 2.7. Mohammed's at 40k. Dylan Mason's 260k. Davis West at 200k, looking to reach top 20k. Interesting. Yusuf says 370k and the same goal, top 11k last year. Top 11k is crazy work. You might as well stretch it to 10. Hold on, I'll get back to more of your comments. Let's have a look at Fran's team. Choi, better choice of selling De Bruyne. Maybe Foden. Again, it maybe feels a bit sideways though. Jay says 182k goal, top 100k. Jay, that's very humble of you to have a goal of top 100k. It's definitely achievable when you're currently at 180k. I would say maybe shoot for a top 50k. My goal is top 100k. I'm currently 3.6 million. Plenty of time. FPL NX says I'm aiming for a top 20k. That's a fair marker. Rukaf says 23k. Gary says, is there any leaks? No, not as of yet. Okay, good to see we have some ambitious managers in here. I'm currently one of those ambitious managers for sure. I back myself till I die. You know, sorry, I can't speak. You all know I would die on my own hill and some of my own takes. I really believe in what I do. And I'm a very aggressive manager. So I believe, and I have been making some very, very good moves over the spell of the last 10 game weeks. And it's a matter of time before I reach back into the top 100k. Again, it's good to know I do have my triple captaincy chip available, and a lot, I would say majority of managers have already used it, so that should shoot me minimum into the top 200k, providing I play it in a double game week and Salah doesn't break. So Fran is after using 2 free transfers, after bringing in Odegaard and Trent. I do like those moves. It makes sense. Odegaard, For anyone that doesn't understand the Odegaard move, I think it comes down to just minutes and him being on penalties now with Saka out. I really like it. So let's keep looking on the timeline before we get back to my own team. 12 minutes until the deadline, by the way. Get your teams locked in. Abdul Rahman's after bringing in Sarr and Trent. 2 lovely moves. Sarr versus Larson is tough, but we go with the new boy. Absolutely, I would have done the same. Saka is the most sold player in FPL history. That is kind of crazy. Gym after stream, says Tiny Fungus. I'm not feeling the best, Alex, so I don't know if I will. Rukaf says, do you have a plan about using those chips, Shy? Okay, let's take a look at the fixture ticker. That's a good point, and let me explain where my head is currently with, of course, the new assistant manager chip, my triple captain, my wildcard. Chica says, can you show the team real quick? Okay, before we move on to my chip strategy, here it is. Whip out the chip strategy, lads. For anyone that knows their chip strategy, put it in chat. Here's the team, though. And let's look and speak chip strategy. So like I said, I have my triple captain. For me, personally, it will really depend when come game week 24 when we can use the mystery chip and what the structure of the league table looks like. If we look at the league table right now, it's important because, of course, the whole thing with 5 places above, if you beat that team, you get extra points. And when I look at the fixtures, okay, come game week 24, what is the table going to look like? And the answer is, to be honest, I can't tell you because there's so many different permutations. That's the main thing. So it would be very difficult for me to say right now, I'm going to play the assistant manager chip in game week 24. So what I can tell you is, what looks very appetizing is using it on Mohamed Salah, the triple captain, because that's a chip that has way less upside than the system manager chip, and give myself many more game weeks to see how the structure of the table develops, instead of having to rush it as soon as we get the opportunity to use the chip. Now, if there is an obvious opportunity to use it in game week 24, I mean, maybe I'll have no choice because I imagine it's going to be very popular. Like, a lot of managers are just going to want to use this chip ASAP. And my rank is going to take a toll if I don't use it. Now, it's whether or not I care about that in the short term to gain some long-term benefit. I mean, of course, you always want to try gain as much long-term points as you can, but I think triple captain probably is the best use of that, of a chip this game week in 24 for me. I don't see another game week that I want to use the triple captain, especially so late in the season. Of course, we'll probably have one in 36/37 and some sort of blank in Friday for the on the 29th, game week 29, sorry, when the Carabao Cup fixtures in Newcastle and Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs come up. Depends who wins those fixtures, what blanks we get. That's where I think the obvious place to free hit is. I imagine a lot of people will have those unless you dead end on wildcard, but with the new way free transfers are being utilised, I don't think I want a dead end. I would rather use a free hit in a blank game week. So I'm thinking, again, so much can change from now and then. But triple captain 24, again, where is wildcard fitting into this? I don't know. I really don't know. But free hit 29 and then assistant manager chip somewhere in this period here and bench boost in this period. It's hard because I have so many chips but so little double game weeks to use any of the chips. So one of them is going to have to be sacrificed on a single game week. And I think that could be potentially the bench boost because over a double game week you could catch so many more points with the system manager chip. So yeah, that's my little spiel on my chip strategy. Again, so much is going to change though. And when you look at the league table, again, I would say it is a small bit discombobulated. You know, United in 13th, Spurs at 11th. You would imagine we break into the top half of the season come game week 24. Again, it is a bit hopeful, but you'd be surprised if we didn't. Again, City If they play a Liverpool and a Chelsea, who are 5 and 6 places above them right now, you know, again, I can't imagine they stay in around 7 come game week 24, but just something to think about. No leaks at everyone just yet from my moderator George. And Zach with the £2 super chat, he says, "Hey Chai, thoughts on Saka to Diaz and João Pedro to Jesus?" I like Saka to Diaz, but I don't know. I feel like Diaz is a bit of a minute's risk. Again, he could start this game, but it might only be 65, 70 minutes. With Cody Gakpo existing, and so with Diogo Jota and Darwin Núñez. I don't love Diaz, I have to be honest with you, Zach. João Pedro to Jesus, I do really like though. I think Jesus as well, if he does get an attack and return, he's likely to be on bonus. Because Jesus is the type of player who isn't your out and out striker. And he is very influential when he does play in terms of picking up the ball and being good for bonus, in my opinion. I noticed that a lot last season when I had him, that he was good for bonus if he did return, which wasn't often, but where are we? Start Robinson or Harwood Bellis? It has to be Robinson. Madueke starts, question mark? I don't know, I can't tell you, to be honest. Start Onana or Fabianski? I think I would start... That's tough. Andre Onana or Fabianski? Probably Onana, I want to say. Little scroll on Twitter to see if we can catch anything. FPL Flair, he's going Raul, Pedro to Stewart and Trent and Raul. Very nice. Okay, let's get back to my team. So, there's my team. We have 6 minutes until the deadline. Everyone get your teams locked in. And fire in any last minute questions. I'll be here to answer them. Are you rolling, Chai? I am. Bench Wissa or Rodgers? I would bench Rodgers, I think. Mateta for Pedro. I actually don't mind Mateta for sure. But I wouldn't be getting rid of Pedro at the same time. Kudos to Gordon. Yeah, I don't mind that move. How should I sell 8 Nori for Lewis this game week or wait until the next one? I don't mind bringing in Lewis this game week, to be honest. Because he looks good for next game week also. Kuna, João Pedro to Isaac for a -4 or hold both. Kuna / João Pedro for a -4 or hold both. I would hold on to both. Sell one of Hall, Digne or Van Heck for Gomez. I would probably sell Van Heck. Again, it depends how you're looking on funds though. Yusuf says, "Hey Cho, I did Saka to Ode." Yeah, I love that. I have one more free transfer. Do I do 8 Nori to Gabby or Rodgers to Martinelli? Or Kuna to Jesus or just roll? I want to say just roll. But unless you're feeling the upside, in that case, I would go to Kuna to Jesus. Because you're going to have to get rid of Kuna at some point. Good morning, Shaw. Says John Hayes. Good luck this game week. Best of luck, John. Do you expect Foden to start? I want to say yeah. Should I transfer Kuna for Jesus? I'd be more than happy holding on to Kuna this game week, I'll be honest. But if you're really chasing upside, why not bring in a Jesus? Would you start Lewis or Colwell? I would start Lewis. Flecken or Fabianski? I would start Fabianski. Play Robinson or Porro? That's a tough one. I think I'd play Porro. Try chase some upside. Here's my wildcard. Says Sidant. That's a juicy wildcard, I'm not going to lie. Chai, my last question, says Rukov. Start Robinson or Mazraoui? I would start Mazraoui. Chase the upside for sure. Went punty, says Robert. Jota plus Jesus. Fair play, man. I love that. Some really good upside this game week. Let's see how it plays out though over the next 2 or 3. Start Einar or Munoz. By the way, 165 people in here. If you could hit that like button, be much appreciated. Thank you for all you kind souls. Shout out Kieran, by the way, who's after donating 5 channel memberships, and anyone who also donated around the Christmas period. I really appreciate it. And also to all the new channel members, show your face in chat first of all, and be sure to send me on your number on X to be added to the WhatsApp group. IDK says, please answer, start Enzo or Murphy? I'll play Murphy at home. AC says, hi Chai, Merry Christmas. Your captain for game week 18 is Mohamed Salah. Start Saka or Rodgers? I mean, you have to start the attacker, I would say. Which is an interesting question, though. Start Munoz or Dallo? I kind of really like Dallo for this game week. Probably Dallo. Start Digne or Robinson? Colwell or Lewis, Chai? Lewis. Ahmed or Enzo? Ahmed. Let's do another scroll to see if we can catch any leaks. Is Gordon worth it? Yes, I want to say. He is worth it. Pedro to Jesus? No. I don't know if it's worth the move. Kuna or Ahmed? I mean, Kuna, providing he's going to play. I want to say definitely Kuna. Bruno, Ahmed, JP, bench one. That's tough. Probably bench Ahmed. You got to go with the two boys on the penalties. Is Gordon worth it? Yes, he is. In my opinion, anyway. Currently 2 minutes until the deadline. Any last questions? I'll try answer them ASAP Rocky. Thanks, Shy. Any plans for the day? No, I'm actually kind of sick, so I don't really plan on doing that today. Even though I planned on going out drinking, but that is not happening today. Regret FPL is saying Foden is with the squad, but no confirmation of a start. Good to know. Let me know some of your plans for the day. What do you do on Boxing Day? Over here, what do we call it? We call it, what can't I think of it? It's not Boxing Day anyway. But everyone basically goes drinking. St. Stephen's Day, that's what it is. Bench one, Ahmed, Sar, or Semenyo. I would be benching Sar, I want to say. Cold shower or cold dinner? Cold dinner. Good luck, everyone. Green arrow this week. Yeah, best of luck, everyone. We still have a minute 23 until the deadline. Again, refresh your team. Make sure you're locked in. Any team news for City, says Harry. No, it doesn't look like we've got anything. My moderator, George, is on it. Bench boost Fabianski, Hall, Munoz, Enzo this week, and Palmer captain. I'm scared. Best of luck. Pedro to Mateta. I don't know if I love that move. You're not coming out. The Golden Jade is calling your name. Alex, I would love to, but I can't. I'm sick. I'll explain it to you later, Alex. Saka to Gordon or Bruno. Either. I really like both. Bruno's probably a better pick if you have the funds. Start Aiton or Colwell. Colwell. Home fixture versus Fulham. Need some tips. Jesus Soboslai captain. I'm going out with the average captain list. If I could choose one, it would be Jesus. But I wouldn't be captaining either. Bench one, Mateta or João Pedro for Rodgers. Bench one, I'll be benching Rodgers, but if you have to bench another one, probably Mateta. So, anyone that's leaving the stream, be sure to hit that like button before you go. It's been an absolutely amazing stream as usual. Apologies for the lack of content. That's another thing to note. I know I haven't been making videos, but I hope you understand I had an assignment due on the 23rd, which had me up to my eyeballs, scratching my eyes, but that's done now. I still have one more assignment to do going into the new year, so I can't guarantee any videos, but I will try do the deadline streams as usual. Apologies if I have let down any of the regulars. I try my absolute best to try and make the deadline streams, but some of the midweek ones are a bit more trickier. But with Christmas now, hopefully I can make all of them. And a £5 super chat to end the stream from Davis West. He says, can't wait to sit in my garden bar drinking all day, watching another green arrow come into fruition. Have a good one, Chai. Thank you, Davis, for joining the stream and becoming a channel member. It's been another amazing stream and I really enjoy it. So hit that like button for me before you leave the stream, and good luck for the rest of the week and enjoy your Christmas and New Year, and I will see you in the next.